Hello and welcome to Sport Africa. In this week's program, our big question is, what does it mean to Morocco missing out on hosting the World Cup for what is now a fifth time? He's the youngest ever goalkeeper in the Spanish La Liga, but how nervous on a scale of 0 to 10 was Francis Uzoho the last time Nigeria faced Argentina?
From 0 to 10, 0.
Plus, the most powerful African woman in world football, Fatma Samara, tells us what matters to her.
You work for it and you're not comfortable having a boss who comes from a different ethnic background, then I have a problem with you.
The headmaster steps in and shares his sporting moment. We meet former Super Eagle Mutiu Adepoju. And who will be crowned our latest BBC armchair expert. Welcome to Sport Africa, the show that brings you Africa's biggest names from its biggest games. I'm Janine Anthony in Lagos. Now, throughout the show, you can let us know your thoughts on social media. So, Morocco has missed out on the chance to host what would have been only Africa's second World Cup. The North African lost out to the North American three-nation joint bid comprising of the USA, Canada and Mexico. Now, the Moroccans unrelenting have officially announced that they will bid for the 2030 World Cup, making it their sixth World Cup bid. So the big question we're asking is, what does this bid failure mean to Morocco and the rest of Africa?
The member associations of Canada, Mexico and USA have been selected by the FIFA Congress to host the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Thank you.
The beautiful game transcends borders and cultures. Football today is the only victor.
The 2026 tournament will be the biggest World Cup ever held, with 48 teams playing 80 matches over 34 days. So we ask, what went wrong for Morocco? Well, take a look at these figures. More cities, bigger stadiums, and greater revenue. From get-go, the North American bid looked more appealing. The appeal of its location and backing from some of Africa's biggest footballing names couldn't overcome the fact that Morocco had to build or renovate all the 14 stadiums in its bid book. As the saying goes, there's a strength in numbers, and United's bid was a first of its kind. It will be the first time the World Cup is hosted by 3 countries.
The American bid was superior when it comes to even just the finances. Morocco, we're talking about 5 billion. The American bid combined was looking at 11 billion profit, which essentially is the same money that goes into development of football.
The campaign was mad that they came in very late, and they didn't have a very good start. That's what I would say.
We voted for the best bid. That's what I'm saying. We are not against anybody. We just voted for the best bid for football development in the world.
We decided from early on to support our bid because we felt it's our bid. And we have lost, and we are happy to have lost, but to have stayed with our bid and to show that it's a democratic process and you can make an independent decision that no one has a problem with. I think I'm happy with it.
So how has the mood changed in Morocco? Earlier this year, Moroccans were feeling rather optimistic, but how are they feeling now?
In my opinion, now football is economic. We are between Morocco and United States is big difference. For that we choose America than Morocco. It's important, economic, money.
We were never gonna get it. So, because we don't have exactly what it takes. So I'd rather Morocco not get it. It will be an embarrassment.
We have to accept it like that. We cannot change it. But I'm really sorry about Morocco. But it's Morocco like any countries. Every country is organized the cup football. It's fine. We will watch it all together.
What behind the scene was that the vote would be close, but the numbers tell a different story. United pulled in 134 of the 203 votes, while Morocco polled 65. And then there's always the politics. Africa was not united behind Morocco. A total of 11 African countries voted for the united bid. Some Southern African countries aligning with their national governments who believe Western Sahara should be a state independent of Morocco, resulting in votes for united.
Our government is at the forefront of that debate, and us voting against that bid will really be flying in the face of a government position.
According to FIFA statutes, there should be no third-party interference. But I'm sure in this instance, and I've been told that some people received instructions from governments on how to vote.
So what next for Africa? The united bid has definitely raised the bar. So when can an African country head forward and win the right to host again?
Thanks, Celestine. Nice skills. And in terms of Africa heading forward and hosting the competition again, there has been suggestion from some African football associations of a return to rotating finals between continents. The system was in place when South Africa successfully bid to host 2010. Come on, England! Of course, many of you have been commenting on this story via social media. Oj Benjamin from Uganda asks, what happened to us Africans voting against our own? Hanson Gregory from Nigeria points his finger at Morocco, saying, what did you expect when you don't have a good relationship with fellow African countries? Samuel Lugave says, who would have thrown away such an immensely attractive joint bid of USA, Mexico and Canada? Such a financial bonanza. Conrad Mubanga in South Africa sees it differently. Canada and US relations are at an all-time low. Donald Trump still insists on a wall on the Mexican border. How are those selling points for hosting a tourney in North America? Wilton Msukwa from Zambia says, this is unpatriotic and un-African. It is our taxes that pay these football administrator salaries. So tell us which individuals voted against Morocco so that we can start a war. Ouch, Wilton. I hope that was written with a smile on your face. As for the 11 nations who voted for the united bid, they are Benin, Botswana, Cape Verde, Guinea, Lesotho, Liberia, Mozambique, Namibia, Sierra Leone, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. Time now for our sports quiz armchair expert, the competition that pits your sporting wits against the best and the rest of the continent. Let's cross over to our referee in Nairobi, Celestine Caroni.
Hello and welcome to Armchair Expert, the quiz where you get to show off your sporting knowledge. And this week in the world of sport, it's the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Let's meet our contestants.
Hello, this is Gregory Mulemi, a Liverpool fan, and I'm here to win this contest. No doubt about that.
Hi, this is Fabian, a Germany fan, and I'm here to hit more misery on a Liverpool fan, as always.
So it's Greg against Fabian, and on to the first round. Let's look at the rules.
Round 1. It's simple. 30 seconds each to answer as many questions as possible on what's going on in the sporting week.
Well, guys, 30 seconds to go. Gregory, I will start with you. And your time starts now. Which technology was introduced at the World Cup in 2014 for the first time?
Video assistant referee.
Wrong, goal line technology. How many teams from South America were present at the World Cup? 4, 6, or 8?
6.
Yes. How many points did Cameroon win at the competition? 0, 3, or 4?
0.
Name one of 2 England players to score at the World Cup in 2014.
Daniel Sturridge.
2014 was Algeria's second, third, or fourth appearance at the World Cup finals.
Second.
Wrong. Fourth. What? Your time just ended, and you were able to get, I believe that was 3 points. Well, Fabian, do you think you can top that?
Absolutely.
Well, let's see if you can. Your time starts now. Name 2 of the 5 African teams at the 2014 finals.
Algeria Nigeria.
Germany only failed to beat one side en route to winning the 2014 title. Who were they?
Ghana.
In 2014, Brazil became the second country to host the World Cup twice. Which is the other country? James Rodriguez won the Golden Boot in 2014 with how many goals?
6.
Which Cameroonian was sent off in the 2014 World Cup just as his... Yes. Who scored twice for Nigeria in their 3-2 defeat by Argentina in 2014? Your time is over, but you got all your questions right. Well done. Time is up. What a round. That was quite interesting. Let's look at how the scores stand. Greg, you have 3 points. Fabian, you have 6 points. Greg, don't worry, you could still catch up. And you can join us again for round 2 later on in the program.
Time now to find about the other side of a sports star's personality in Who Am I? He's in Russia at the World Cup with the Nigerian team, and at just 19 years of age, Francis Uzoho is their youngest player there.
Madrid. I'll go for Ronaldo's goal. It's a difficult question to answer, but I'll choose Edwin van der Sar. Papilo, Kanwanko. Definitely my dad. That's a tough one, but I would prefer to have a World Cup because it's for my country and myself. The best advice should be my dad. I should be myself and do what I know how to do best. Honest.
Vicente Nyama.
I'll be a striker. It is a lot. Two-Face song, African Queen. No, I'm not gonna sing that now. I can go with both. Majimbo. That was against Argentina. I wasn't. From 0 to 10, 0. Making everybody honest like me. Arnold, because I like the machines. I like with his shotgun.
And no doubt, Nigerians will be hoping Uzoho pulls off some Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jet Li style heroics between the posts for his country. That's the end of part 1. When we return, we'll meet the most powerful woman in football. This is Sport Africa from the BBC. Welcome back to BBC Sport Africa. Now, what difference can it make having an African woman at the top of FIFA? It's been 2 years since Fatma Samara, who comes from Senegal, stepped into the second most powerful role in FIFA as the Secretary General of the World Governing Body. She caught the attention of our friends at BBC 100 Women who met with her.
I can say that the glass ceiling has been broken.
This is Fatma Samara. She's from Senegal and is making history.
I joined a definitely male-dominated organization, first woman after 112 years.
The first female FIFA executive, Fatma's the Secretary General. But her appointment 2 years ago was questioned. Her background in humanitarian work, not sport, led to doubts about whether she had the right experience.
Nobody asks a man when he takes a position whether he's competent to do the job. They just assume that he can do the job. For a woman to make it her way up to the top, you need to prove every single day that you are the best fit for that position. You have to work twice as much as the men. You have to make no mistake.
Fatma was appointed in 2016, shortly after the corruption scandal that took out most of FIFA's top leadership. She replaced Secretary General Jerome Valcke.
The first time I visited this room was when I arrived. Janine called for a meeting with all the members of the management board, about 20 people, to introduce me as the new Secretary General. Besides the excitement, I was just thinking, wow, this is the biggest chandelier I've ever seen in my life.
Now sitting at the top table, Fatma feels she isn't just representing women, but black women in football.
There are many people who want first my position, and there are people who don't think that a black woman should be leading the administration of FIFA. It's sometimes as simple as that. I say, you have no place here. If you are racist, something we are fighting on a daily basis on the pitch, I don't want any racist person around me. The biggest sport that everybody knows is the biggest unifier in the world. You work for it and you're not comfortable having a boss who comes from a different ethnic background, then I have a problem with you, yes.
Fatma says the male-dominated organization she has joined is used to her now, but the most powerful woman in sport is focused on the future.
If there is one region where we really have huge potential for growth, is women's game. For the men, we have seen it all. They are big stars, big money. For the women, we still need to sell it as a very specific product, and we don't want to make any mistake.
Welcome back to Armchair Expert. Fabian is in the lead going into the second round, and let's look at the rules.
Round 2, convince me. You each have 15 seconds to argue for or against. 2 points are up for grabs.
15 seconds to convince me on this statement. The World Cup is the biggest event in sport. Greg, you're arguing against. Fabian, you're arguing for. And we will start with Greg. Your time starts now. Convince me.
The viewership of the World Cup, you wait for 4 years to get 3.6 billion viewers, but annually the Champions League is the most viewed football competition in the world, 1.6 billion viewers. And then you look at the nationalities represented in the Champions League more than at the World Cup, because World Cup it's biased.
Sorry. Thank you. Your time is up. And Fabian, you've thought hard about your points.
Absolutely.
Convince me, starting now.
The World Cup, the viewership is 3.2 billion, and that's over the whole World Cup. And the final, the viewership was 1 billion. Apart from that, the World Cup is played by every country. So every nationality is represented from the qualifiers up to the major competition. So yeah, it is the biggest. And football being...
I know, you could actually feel that point coming, yeah, that you just forgot. But after that, I am inclined to lean towards Fabian. I feel that he convinced me better, so you get the 2 points. Especially because you spoke about how, you know, football is played by all nationalities. So at that, every 4 years, we are all united by something, aren't we? So after that, let's look at the overall scores. Greg, that means you are on 3 points. Fabian with quite the lead on 8 points. But remember, guys, there's still a lot to play for in round 3. We'll be back later in the program.
So what were you doing 20 years ago? Chances are you weren't born, or you were still carefree and rolling with your friends, or just being a cool kid like I was. We now turn your attention to a sporting moment at the World Cup in France with Nigerian midfielder Mutiu Adepoju. Also known as the headmaster, he was playing both with and against his friends in his country's opening game.
Agustin Aranzaba was my teammate in Real Sociedad, and he was part of a Spain squad too. Prior to the World Cup, he was saying that they were going to beat us 10-0 and all that, all those banters that, and I told him it's not possible. In the morning of the match, I woke up from the bed. I slept thinking of the game, and I woke up thinking of the game. As I walked out of the tunnel, I saw familiar faces. I was so excited, playing against a nation that has become my second home. It was fantastic. We started off G3. Spain were dominant. And 20 minutes into the game, we went down 1-0 through Fernando Hierro's free kick. We found our momentum. My moment was to come. We had a corner kick. I sensed that that was my moment. Garua Lawal was to take it. I took off from the 6 behind Kiko, and I went in between Hierro and Kiko. Hierro was in the first hole. So he jumped, and I jumped a second after him and nodded the goal with all my strength. I was the headmaster. I had to score a goal like this, and it was the greatest moment of my life. And that was my sporting moment.
Before we go, who will sit on this big yellow throne and be crowned this week's armchair expert? It's the final round, and it's over to Celestine in Nairobi.
And it's crunch time on Armchair Expert. Greg, you're on 3 points. Fabian, you're on 8 points. As we head into the third and final round, here is how it works.
Round 3, the quickfire decider. 45 seconds to push up your score. Remember, shout your name before you answer or you'll lose out.
Your time starts now. Who knocked Barcelona out of the Champions League this season?
Greg?
Roma.
Name the only African to win a Premier League title this season for Manchester City.
Fabian. Adorabir. Yeah, Toure.
Greg, Yaya Toure.
I'll have to go with him. What did Michael Jordan win with? Which team did Michael Jordan win with his 6 NBA basketball championships with?
Chicago Bulls.
Who was Sir Alex Ferguson's final signing as Manchester United manager?
Fabian. Zaha.
How many Premier League titles have Tottenham Hotspur won?
Fabian.
0.
Who won the 2018 Serie A title?
Fabian. Juve.
Which sports features are googly?
Pass.
Who was the last African to win a golf major title?
Greg, South African.
Fabian. Annie L.
Correct. Right at the death. And you got it correct. Time is up in this round. Greg, you got 3 points. Fabian, you got 4 points. Let's look at the overall scoreboard. The overall scores are Greg with 6 points and Fabian with 12 points, which means one and only thing is that you're this week's Armchair Expert winner. You get to sit on the throne. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the throne. How does it feel?
It feels nice to beat a Liverpool fan, but fantastic.
Well, that's it. Fabian wins this week's Armchair Expert. Do join us next time on the Armchair Expert.
Congratulations, Fabian, this week's winner. Don't forget, you can get in touch with us on anything you've seen in the program via Facebook or Twitter. And that's where you can watch some of these pieces again. And if you want more, we've got it. Head over to our website, BBC Sport Africa. Thank you for joining us. And until some other time, I'm Janine Anthony. Goodbye.